All right, so thanks so much for joining me today. Super excited. I'm going to basically break down everything that we have given to our members that have seen a lot of success when it comes to nutrition in combination with their training, right? On top of that, I'm going to give you a little bit on the science, not going to get all geeky on you or bodybuilder with it. I'm just giving you kind of a snapshot of why we lose fat and what we need to do to create that perfect storm. Cool? So, what is the secret to reducing body fat or losing weight? Okay. Healthy diet and healthy exercise. That really is the secret. But what we're going to talk about more is the actual strategies, which starts from here in our mindset and what we're thinking and our approach to what we actually go out into day to day. Cool. So, whether we're trying to reduce body fat or become successful in anything, where do we go? Do we try to reinvent the wheel? Or would you guys agree that we probably want to look at what does work, right? Would you say so? Cool. So when it comes to reducing body fat, who do we think of as the best in the world? Probably bodybuilders, right? They're pretty darn good. Now it's an extreme, but there's something to be learned. They're following some type of principle that does work. Because then you have others in other spaces on The Biggest Loser, which is another extreme, but a whole other type of population. The point is that the same principles are being used to some degree, in some way, shape, or form, with all these different sub-niches or subcultures or populations, right? So let's look at the principles as we go through this. And also you want to look at, does the program that you're considering, or the approach that you're considering, has it worked for others? A lot of times we see what's the latest and greatest, right? Who here, raise your hand if you've seen a new diet pop up in the past month or so. And you're like, sounds interesting, right? That's marketing at its best. I love marketing. Darn, they're good at it. So does this work, what I'm about to share with you today? Well, it worked for Coach Celeste in the back. Hey, Celeste, she lost 51 pounds and 17% body fat. Now, Celeste, would you agree that you tried a lot of strategies in your journey, and it came down to not necessarily a new strategy, but reinforcing habits from mindset and habitual practices day in, day out through exercise, right? Who else does it work for? Debbie! Debbie couldn't join us today. That's not a good before picture, folks, because there's two of them. But she lost 71 pounds, and those are the incorrect numbers. She lost over 71 pounds using these same exact principles. Okay? A strategy based on these principles. Diane. Who here has met Diane? Lovely lady. Trains usually 5:30s Mondays and Wednesdays, I believe. She lost over 40 pounds by taking these principles and applying them, right? They're principles. It's not a quick, short-term diet. Elaine, who's met Elaine? Who's seen Elaine? Now everyone has, right? Cool. So she's down about 50 pounds now since August. Here is coming into late February. And same thing, mindset approach, and also a proven strategy, which we're going to go over today. So 3 keys to success from your nutrition. That's it, just 3. First, it's going to be mindset or attitude, which is your relationship with food. Who here has tried to lose weight before? Raise your hand. Right? Who here has been unsuccessful with an attempt at weight loss? Raise your hand, like me, if you have. Cool. So why is that? Was it a bad strategy? Did the thing you were doing not work for someone else? Right? We could probably agree that it had worked for someone else, or else we wouldn't have tried it. Okay? So is it the plan that we're following that's flawed, or is it our thinking and our approach to it? That's what I believe. It doesn't matter if we're trying to lose weight or become successful in our profession. That same principle applies. So your strategy, what is your approach? That's the second most important thing. Because if your head's right, your head's in the right place, but you're following a plan that does not work at all, it is some gimmicky thing, you're probably not going to be successful, right? It doesn't matter how prepared you are for it. And of course, reinforcement. Do you reinforce the healthy habits? What is working, what you need to be doing, right? Is your head in the right place? And on top of that, are you reinforcing, yes, I need to do this, and yes, I need to follow through every day. Yes, there's motivation to that, but there's a little bit more as well. So key number 1, mindset and attitude. If your head is in the wrong place with your diet or your strategy, whatever you want to look at it, it doesn't matter what you're going to do. It doesn't matter how motivated you are, how pumped up you are, how much pressure you put on yourself to follow through and be successful with this, you're not going to be successful, at least not in the long term, okay? And once you agree with a poor and frustrated attitude towards weight loss, it's going to be a lot harder. Who here has had to do something in their life that they did not want to do, but they had to do it, right? Was going into it with a poor attitude going to make it a lot more difficult, yes? Right, exactly. The same exact thing with weight loss. If we take it with a mindset approach is, this is going to be the worst 8 weeks of my life. Is it going to be the worst 8 weeks of our life? Yeah. Or if we go into it thinking, oh, I don't want to do this. I have to do this. Versus, this is my opportunity to become healthier, happier, reduce body fat, feel better about myself, and improve my self-confidence. Are those two different conversations we're having with ourselves? There's two different scenarios, two different people almost, right? So these are some things that you usually see whenever we're talking about any sort of extreme diet or just simple shift in eliminating sugars and pastas and flours from our diet, right? A lot of times we say, I've tried everything, this probably won't work either. Who's ever felt that way before? I know I have. I've tried a lot of different things. I like testing things, they're fun. I'm not giving up my wine, pasta, beer, treats, my snacks. Who here has ever felt that way when trying something new when it comes to nutrition? I know I have, right? I love almond butter, but sometimes in excess it's not the best thing for you, right? And every diet I've tried has failed. What's different about this one? What does this go back to? Is it about the strategy, or is it about our mindset approach to it? If we keep doing the things we've been doing, we'll keep getting what we've been getting. The same results, right? If we go through this cycle, because would you guys say that you've gone through some type of cycle, you stress out, there's a deadline coming up to go to the beach or a wedding or something very special come up in our lives, that we're, all right, we got 12 weeks to do this, and then you go back to some cycle or pattern or approach or strategy to losing weight that is usually not healthy, usually quick fix, and then we get frustrated when either we don't follow through, and that deadline comes up and we don't feel our best, or after the deadline, we were successful, but then guess where do we end up back at? With those extra 10 or 15 pounds that we worked so hard to get off. Okay. This is really one of the biggest things that dictates our body fat percentage, I believe, and success in a lot of things we do in life, right? I run this gym. This is a reflection of how what I have gone through over the past year, which I'll share with you, but also how well this runs. If my stress level is high, am I going to be at my best as a coach or as a business owner? No, absolutely not. Who here is stressed out during the week at some point? Right? Work, family, kids, you name it. Who here takes proactive steps every single day to manage their stress? What do you do, Celeste?
I treat my body well.
How do you mean?
I knew you were going to say that. I make sure that I spend at least an hour on myself, whether it's exercise or making sure I'm putting good food in my body. I try to go to bed on time, but that is like...
It's a challenge, right?
Huge challenge.
But
because if I want to spend that hour for myself, I'm not going to get to bed on time.
Trade-off. But you take proactive steps every day, right? Jade, what do you do every day?
I try to get the rest I need because that has been a real challenge, and consuming the water and not adding too much to my plate.
Cool. Anyone else have any daily habits or actions they take? Any morning rituals? How do you start your day? Do you run into the shower, run to the dogs, hop into the car? I personally, I wake up an hour extra. I know not everyone can do that, I understand. I prioritize some form of meditation or relaxation, mindfulness. We're not speaking religion here, I'm simply saying peace, calm, quiet, right? I focus on gratitude every day, I journal every day. And not every day is going to be perfect, but if I start my day that way, I feel like I can steer that ship. I'm turning the Titanic away from that iceberg, right? Because if we wake up, who here has woken up in a crappy mood at some point? I know I have. I have days where I feel, and I do not want to get out of bed because I have something very stressful that I know is coming my way. Maybe here or at home with my parents or whatever it may be. And we all go through that. But you can see where this is kind of the root of before the strategy, before we can have our head in the right place to follow through day to day and be successful with weight loss or weight maintenance, we need to take these proactive steps. Because realistically, when it comes down to stress, hormonally, stress is driving us to crave food, that instant gratification, the dopamine release, right? We want the instant satisfaction. It gives us that. Food does give us that, especially our favorite carbohydrates, sugars, you know, trans fats, all those good, tasty stuff that we know consciously are terrible for us. And they're getting us further away from our goals. More importantly, habitually, if we're very reactive in our day and not proactive by setting the stage with some type of morning habit or ritual that positively launches our day, then we are going to be more reactive throughout our day. And usually, who here is reactive towards food? I know I am. I'm a stress eater. I will go straight to the almond butter, or sometimes worse things. So how do we manage stress? In general, having a plan, right? Doesn't matter if we're talking professionally or personally, what our thing that we're working towards is. Who here works right now? Okay? Or has in the past? Congratulations on your recent retirement. Who here goes into their day with a plan? Right? If you don't, what happens? How productive are you? Okay? Same thing with weight loss or weight maintenance. It's never a done job. Okay? If you do not have a plan for your day, week, month, do you think you're going to be successful? Absolutely not. Right? Something is going to come up that's going to deter you, that you're going to settle for something less than what you know you should be eating or doing. Right? Not exercising or eating poor foods. Taking daily action. It's huge. Even with a plan. Who here's made a plan for something, usually weight loss, and then not follow through with it every day? Fall off, right? Not taking action. Third, support and accountability, right? That can be a personal coach, okay? Or just putting yourself, which we're going to talk about later, into an environment like this where there's other women that are just trying to be healthy, maybe lose weight, may not have the exact same goals, but you're in the same headspace. And that means the world. And you're here taking an action. You're killing two birds with one stone. You're surrounding yourself with like-minded people that aren't choosing to abuse their bodies with poor health food choices and, you know, stressing, resorting to stress, and, you know, you're in this door. You're finding a woman walk in Friday at 5:30 instead of going to happy hour down the street. What's the difference between those two? If the two people want to lose weight, they weigh the same exact amount, they have the same height, everything else is all equal. One person walks in here every Friday, one person goes to Chewy's upstairs. Who's going to be more successful? The person that walks in here. Is it because we have the best training program in the world? Probably not. It's because they're being proactive and taking daily action and following through, right? Having a plan. I've kind of already touched on this. More importantly, when will you do what? Right? Who here in your daily agenda marks down or kind of pre-plans when you're going to exercise for that day? Just as a thought, right? Do you have a backup plan? Why not? Do things come up sometimes? Right? That little shift, that little action sets you up for success. Because, you know, if you plan 5 workouts in a week and 3 days you can make a backup time, are you going to be more successful than not putting that contingency plan in? Absolutely, 100%. What are you going to be doing during that time? This same principle applies to food. Same principle applies to, if I cannot prep food, then I will have X ready to go, right? So what is your backup plan? You know, and this same principle applies to planning your food. Who here has picked a day that they plan food, like a Sunday? I usually do Sunday and Thursday. I'll do one batch, one meal. Sometimes that day goes to crap, right? And then what do we have to do? We have to have a backup plan for that. It's that simple, right? But you can see how easy we can feel hopeless and lost if Monday comes around. We haven't planned out any of this. Sunday went to crap, and we didn't have the opportunity to be proactive with our food. Does that make sense? So what are your rituals? Like I said, here's what I do every day: daily meditation, mindfulness, gratitude, positive affirmations, and then, you know, the specific example to this presentation is review your weight loss goal. How successful were you yesterday? How successful do you intend to be today? What is that going to do for you in the future? Okay. Same principles apply to any sort of business success, you name it. And then midday stress relief, because what I'm actually listening to a book right now where they're talking about kind of like mental fatigue and endurance when it comes to, you know, making decisions throughout your day and following through with weight loss in particular, right? So blood sugar goes like this throughout the day depending on what we eat, when we eat. So we hormonally are susceptible for not being productive with our foods already. But if you're not managing your stress, does stress increase throughout the day? Physically, yes. Emotionally, a lot of times it does, right? Stuff happens at work, or we're just drained, we're stressed out of our minds. We're all going through it, you know, it's what we do with it, though. If you give yourself a midday stress reliever, that can be walking for 30 minutes. That can be exercising, if it makes sense for you, right? Meditation, if that's something you choose to participate in, which I highly recommend. Or just turn off your darn phone and read a book for 30 minutes. This is your opportunity also to reinforce your healthy habits. So midday, do you think your result 12 weeks later, instead of eating lunch with coworkers at a restaurant every day, or choosing to go off on your own to walk for 30 minutes, what's going to get you closer to your goal? Probably going off and giving yourself those 30 minutes of stress relief and reinforcing a healthy habit in exercise, right? Simple as walking. But it's going to bring you closer than going and putting yourself into an environment where you're more susceptible to midday drinks and unhealthy foods, right? Also having a coach, someone that knows how to help you do it, someone that practices what they preach, very important, because a lot of times you don't see that. And then also someone that will hold you accountable, because sometimes it isn't knowing what to do. Who here knows how to lose weight? All of us do. We all have read something. Start by eating less, or cut carbs. You know, there's a lot of different strategies, right? It's not about learning more of what to do. It's about doing it. That's accountability, right? I hired a coach when I went through my own journey, which I'm going to share in a minute. And I didn't learn anything from him. He created this feeling, just because I was giving him a couple bucks every month, that I was accountable to reporting to him. And there's immense value in that. This was me, all July 23rd, I think. I gained about 30-some pounds from stress from opening the gym, and I stopped exercising for 3 months. That was one of the worst days of my life. And I had about $30,000 in debt on my mind, and I hated waking up every day. I was at a low point. And I could fall. I tried, I'll be dead honest. Through those 6 months, I did crash diets. I did quick fixes. My body fat went up and down like this. And nothing, I saw this change, you know, up and down. This, it just kept getting worse. That was me when I made a full commitment to do a bodybuilding competition. That was 11 weeks of work, just pure dedication. I was fully committed. I had a proven plan. I practiced daily action, mindfulness, meditation. So I got my head in the right place. And I did have a coach, right? So did I follow all these principles that I just presented here? And this is an isolated, you know, I don't want to say incident, but this is my journey, right? But the principles are still the same. It doesn't matter if you're trying to lose 50 pounds or 5 pounds. These same principles work. They work for the women that are on that wall that everyone should take a peek at. I got new pictures of them. But these same principles apply. They all work, right? So key strategy number 2, or key number 2 is strategy, sorry. So is your nutrition plan soundproof? Has it worked sustainably for others? That's a big thing. Because we've all seen the weight loss programs that help you lose weight on a scale, right? Probably, yeah. I mean, most diets promise that. More importantly, though, does this plan fit for your lifestyle? The one I did probably is not going to fit for your lifestyle. Did it work? Was it a proven plan? Yes. Was my head in the right place? Yes. Did I have a coach? Yes. But you're not going to want to do what I did. I wouldn't say it's unhealthy, but it was extreme, right? But what is bodybuilding? It's an extreme lifestyle sport where they reduce body fat and build muscle. Have you heard of any of these diets? Raise your hand if you have. Higher. Put them up there. Have you Hey, oh wait, we're not done, hold it up. Have you sustainably lost weight from any of these diets to this day?
Well, sustainable.
Still practicing and preaching?
No.
Okay.
Sometimes for years.
Right. So, is it our strategy, or is it where we're at with our heads and our attitude and relationship with that, right? These can set you up. Like Celeste, for example, she started Weight Watchers for years. When she finally got her, well, okay, so sorry. You had done it a few times, right?
I had tried, yes, I had tried and fallen off the wagon many times.
Sure. The last time, though, it was her launch pad as she transitioned to Whole30 and Paleo. Do you live by that lifestyle?
That lifestyle, yes.
Okay, right. But how different is your headspace, your mindset
This
towards
is totally different.
completely different relationship with food. And then you take someone else that isn't here, that could be sitting in a chair in this room, and who had started same process, but they looked at it as a completely different thing, as a 30-day experience versus a lifestyle. And what are their results? Probably not the same, right? So here's the secret to fat loss and maintaining a weight, any sort of weight, whatever your weight goal may be. Quality, quantity, balance, and timing. That's it. If you follow this hierarchy in this order, you will be successful. If you try to prioritize one over the other, you may maintain, but it's not going to be sustainable. Okay. So what I found works for this particular group of this audience that walks in here, that trains in here, the woman that trained in this gym. Paleo or Whole30, okay? Clean eating, I like to call it. And then for those that really want to crank it up and get specific results, hitting your macronutrients, a rough calorie goal, okay, with fat, carb, protein balance. Right? And I'll show you how to get specific with that. But what comes first, quality or quantity? Quality, exactly. Because quantity doesn't matter. You can go, theoretically, if you have 60 pounds to lose, you could probably set a calorie goal, eat McDonald's every day within that calorie goal, and you might see some progress. Are you going to be healthier? No. Is it going to be sustainable? No. So, when it comes to getting results from this, how do you check these steps off? Quality, quantity, balance, and timing. Okay? A lot of times, I get the question, what else can I do? Or why is it not working? I always go back to what's the quality of your foods. And then usually what happens is we focus on the quality for a week. We're seeing a little bit of progress or not enough, and then we jump to the next thing. Oh, well maybe it's the quantity. Maybe it's the balance that I'm not doing right. Maybe it's the timing, right? Why do we jump ship so often? Because we do want to see fast results, and that's understandable, but it's not a fast process. Anyone that promises fast weight loss probably is not going to help you sustain it or truly deliver, right? Who here knows how many calories is in 1 pound of body fat?
Is it 3,500?
3,500, exactly.
Exactly.
Done. Clap it up. That was good. So my question for you is, how the heck are we going to lose, like someone that wants to lose 3 pounds of weight fat in a week? That's like 10,000 extra calories you got to burn somewhere. Now you could do it, but who has the time for that? You either need to starve yourself, which isn't going to work, definitely not sustainably, or you need to be exercising full time. Like professional athletes probably could lose 3 pounds of body fat, but what do they do all day? Do they work out? Yeah, exactly. We have to be realistic with it. So quality, there's no secrets here. Chicken, fish, beef. For those that are vegetarian, for example, there are substitutes: pea protein, whey protein, hemp protein, right? You can also get your protein sources from legumes, nuts, and seeds as well. Okay. Healthy fats: olive, coconut, avocado, nuts, and seeds. Right? And then quality of your carbs: starches such as sweet potatoes, and then vegetables, lean greens. Right? Nothing beats them. Okay. Those, oh, sorry. Fruits. Yep, fruits can go in there as well. We'll talk more specifically on fruit in a little bit, but yes, I just forgot to do it. Quantity. So, once you have your quality in place, what do you do next? You track and measure. Give it 4 weeks. Give it 4 to 6 weeks before you jump ship to the next thing, right? We all want to jump to the next thing that's going to get us that quick result. Focus on 4 to 6 weeks of quality. Once you have mastered quality, then we add in quantity, because there's no point in making it complicated with a specific quantity if we have not mastered our quality, and we're still choosing sugar-filled foods a lot, right? Okay? So here is a simple equation that's very popular in the fitness industry that works, okay? This is called the Harris-Benedict equation. There's calculators you can find online. I can include some resources in the email to everyone after this, okay? And you can also pull this exact equation. There's no secret. It's on the internet on many websites, okay? This will give you a goal, okay? And what I usually find is that a lot of women that I have been able to help come in thinking they need to eat maybe 1,200 calories. Who here is focused on 1,200 calories? Why?
That's what they tell you.
That's what they tell you. Who tells you?
Oh, let's
Shape Magazine, Women's Health,
see.
Dr. Oz.
Every equation you plug into.
Weight Watchers.
When you,
Right, and it may,
You put in your body size, you put in your height, your bone structure, you know.
sure, and that, but here's the thing. We've kind of, what I find a pattern of is a very arbitrary 1,200 calories for someone that walks in here that might be 150 pounds to someone that might be 250 pounds. That just doesn't add up, because if you have more body weight, your energy that you need to sustain that is going to be completely different than the person that has 100 pounds more than you, right? So start with this equation. A lot of times you'll be surprised. You might find that your estimated metabolic rate, how many calories you burn laying in bed all day, is like 1,700 a day, right? So if you're eating 1,200 a day, you're sending the wrong signal to your body. Okay, if you should be eating 1,500 a day to lose, and you're eating 1,200, what are you telling your body? Are you telling your body, hey, let's get some body fat out of here, that's my #1 priority, or hey, I'm starving, let's cut down hormonal processes and focus on keeping my heart beating with 1,200 calories. Let's store fat because we may not have food next week. What says we may not have food next week? Eating 1,000 calories less than we need, or just chipping away a couple hundred, right?
You had put that up, a couple weeks ago, and I calculated it out, and for me, and I'm 57, it said between 1,500 and 1,600 a day. I did all your math.
Did you base it off of step 2,
Yeah,
which is our activity level? Okay?
yeah,
And then you subtract it.
yeah.
Okay, so it's 1,500, 1,600?
Mhm.
Cool. Are you doing it?
Trying.
so that's the amount you want to eat to sustain or to lose?
This gives you if you were laying in bed all day, amount. Okay?
To sustain.
This gives you, based on your daily activity, how often you're exercising. Okay? And then what you do, you apply it based on those numbers to your equation, and you're probably going to be shocked and say, oh, I didn't know I could eat that much to sustain. Which
You're
section?
gonna send us this.
Yep, I can send you this.
Getting hard to type it all up.
Sure, no worries. It's a little phone. And then you subtract from this. Okay? You don't need to subtract by that much. If you're consistent, 300 calories a day is going to add up over time. Remember, because it's not going to happen in a week, it's not going to happen in a day. Any questions on that? Kind of interesting? Way to look at it a little different? Balance, right? So we have quality, we have quantity. We've been doing this for 8 weeks now. We're seeing progress, right? Now we really start to fine-tune our balance. How much protein in comparison to fat, in comparison to carbohydrates. Okay? If you're eating 100% carbohydrates, but you're on a reduced calorie intake, you may see progress, but you probably won't. Okay? Just an example. If you're having only protein, you're going to feel probably terrible, but you might be seeing a different result. Right? But we want balance, nutritionally, and which these are hormones and all those good things. Timing. Who eats before they work out in here? Why is everyone not putting their hands up?
Well, I eat lunch and then I come, like, whatever, 3:30.
Okay. About 60 to 90 minutes before a workout, we should always be eating. Even if it's just a protein shake. Traditionally, though, what I'm recommending here, carbohydrates and protein. Does anyone know why?
Fuel.
Energy.
Energy, right? We all want to think that working out equals fat loss immediately. Who here has been under that assumption at some point? I was. I used to think back before I learned anything about fitness that if I worked out, I would just be burning fat right then and there. That's not how it works. Depending on the intensity you're working out at, it creates a perfect storm. That's when the clouds start popping up and you see the storm coming. After your workout, that's when everything comes and hails down on you. And that's when body fat gets burned, oxidized, immobilized, you name it. You're trying to set your workout, you need to go